If you're an HVAC technician and a call comes in, Grainger knows that you need a partner that helps you find the right product, fast and hassle-free. And you know that when the first problem of the day is a clanking blower motor, there's no need to break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product details, you're confident you'll soon have everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.
Welcome back to Big Little Lessons, where we take the wisdom of early childhood and stretch it into all the places life takes us. We're longtime teaching partners, over 17 years in the kindergarten classroom. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Kristine, and now we're opening the door to conversations that help all of us grow. Teachers, parents, coaches, or anyone who wants to understand the heart of children just a little bit better.
Today, we're talking about sportsmanship, what it looks like in kindergarten, on the basketball court, and in life. Our guest today brings a truly unique perspective.
Before we bring in our guest, we want to ground this conversation in something really important. Sportsmanship isn't just a nice idea or a bonus skill.
It's actually backed by science. Harvard Center on the Developing Child has shown that structured play strengthens executive function, and that helps kids manage impulses, stay focused, problem solve, and regulate emotions.
So before we jump in, we should probably unpack the definition of executive functioning.
I know, as teachers, we talk about executive functioning all the time.
To me, it's like, are they organized? Do they have good executive functioning? But it actually goes deeper, and it starts sooner.
Yeah. So the ability to take in information and organize what you do take in.
Right? So and then once you take in the information, what you do with it. So being able to shift and make changes and make revisions.
And learning to control and manage emotions. That's a big part of it. But
there's a lot involved in executive functioning.
I know the simplest way that I always think about executive function is the beginning of a school day. We ask students when the bell rings to come in, and they're expected to walk in themselves, to unpack their backpack, put their lunchbox away, their water bottle, and be able to know where to go next.
It's like following multi-step directions.
Yes.
Yeah. And then while they're doing it, if something comes at them or if something happens, then what?
Yes, the parents calling back for them to grab something else. It's a lot to manage an emotion, but executive functioning begins at an early age, and there's a lot to do.
So we're going to talk about sports today, and that requires a tremendous amount of executive functioning. So when sports are done well, they are a form of structured play, right? Yep. And flexibility and, giving kids a safe, predictable setting to practice self-control and flexibility and collaboration. And it all takes practice. It doesn't just happen. Like, you're not born with executive functioning.
No, they are skills that everyone is working with the students. And we always say, learn, practice, forget. And let's do this again, over and over and over again.
So I want to repeat that it's structured play is a form of executive functioning. I think that's such a critical part of what we're going to talk about today.
Because we sometimes think, they're just playing house, or they're just playing with the trucks on the floor. But it's so much more than what we quote unquote say play. It's learning how to organize themselves. There's also a fascinating study in 2017, developmental science, that found that family rituals like game nights, shared routines, and predictable traditions actually predict better emotional health and resilience in children.
I love that. I think it makes a lot of sense. Those early rituals and habits become the roots of sportsmanship. They build emotional muscles kids need to handle frustration, teamwork, and competition as they grow. I mean, we have so many stories about kids losing and what happens when they lose and their faces getting red and frustrated and like how to help them.
So this is a bigger conversation that just to quote unquote be nice or shake hands after the game. This is about setting kids up for lifelong resilience.
Awesome. So today we're so excited to welcome someone who was part of our kindergarten team for 4 years, our friend and former colleague, Steven Tolbert.
Woohoo! Hey, Steven.
Hello.
Steven was born in Chicago. He grew up in a big family with 3 sisters and 2 brothers, and eventually made his way to Los Angeles, where he graduated high school in 2005.
He went to Wesleyan University, earning his degree in psychology while playing both football and basketball. He's a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity.
As a student athlete, Steven was a standout, a multi-sport all-league player and captain of an undefeated state championship basketball team. And he's also worked in education and coaching for over a decade, supporting students.
Goes by fast.
It does, and it only gets faster. Supporting students as a teaching assistant, a PE coach, associate teacher, and a basketball coach.
So in Steven's current role, he serves as both an administrator and a varsity basketball coach, bringing his trademark blend of compassion, structure, and leadership. He married his gorgeous wife, Riley.
Oh, I remember that engagement.
In 2022.
Remember the book.
And continues to pour his heart into supporting young people both on and off the court.
We are thrilled to have you, Steven, to talk about sportsmanship, teamwork, and the lessons you've learned from working with kindergartners to high school students. So welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me.
Oh,
You're so welcome. So I think in terms of like the structure of where we want to go today, we're going to cover, we have some sort of umbrellas. So we're going to ask you about what kindergarten taught you as a varsity coach, what sportsmanship really means when emotions run high, because that happens, how you build a team culture, and then finally, big little lessons we learn from sports. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Get ready.
I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
You are so ready. So our favorite question that we ask every guest is, what's your earliest school memory? Since we teach the little ones, we'd love to hear about that.
Yes. So I was thinking about this question, and I remember being in either pre-K or kindergarten, and we were making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and we were singing the peanut butter and jelly sandwich song. And I remember grabbing the jar of peanut butter and singing the song into the jar, and my teacher getting really mad at me. And I think that's when I learned about germs, and spreading germs.
There's always a lesson learned.
There's always a lesson.
The big little lesson.
Yeah,
Don't
I just grabbed
sing
it. Yep.
into the peanut butter.
I was singing into the jar.
And you were probably so cute.
I was excited. I was very excited.
I love that your teacher was teaching you how to make your own sandwich.
That's it. Yep.
Good teacher. And teaching you about germs.
Yeah.
I also want to ask you, what's your earliest memory of participating in sports, since you've had a lifelong passion for sports?
Yes. It's probably some earlier ones if I think back, but I'm sure my parents will find this one funny if they hear this. I was playing football for the first time, tackle football, in 3rd or 4th grade. And, football, you're supposed to be tough and, rugged. And my nose was running on the field.
Oh, no.
And my mom came over and wiped my nose with tissues on the football field. My father was mortified. I didn't think anything of it at the time. But yeah, we still laugh about that to this day.
Oh my gosh, your mom was doing the right thing.
She did a mom thing. That was a mom move.
She's like, honey, I want to make sure you look good and feel comfortable as you tackle.
100%.
Oh my gosh.
Probably not the best look for someone's first time playing football, but
I think
that's a good memory.
it is. Well, speaking of good memories, we've got to unpack how you came to be in a kindergarten associate working with us in kindergarten, because I've known your younger brothers and your sister. My daughter, Gracie, was in class with your twin brothers. Yeah. I remember you were going to be applying for a kindergarten associate, and Kristine came in after having you come in to read a story. Do you remember the story you read?
I believe it was PJ Funny Bunny. It's hard being a bunny. I believe that was
I
the
think
story.
it was. You did a beautiful job. You commanded the room, and the kids were so excited, like overly excited.
To have you, first of all, you're such a fine human being. And to have a guy in kindergarten was really exciting. And I'll never forget when Kristine, after you had read the story and the day was done, and you came to my room and you're like, he's so perfect for this. He's going to be the perfect fit.
Yeah.
And you were.
No, I knew from the moment. We do have some funny memories just in terms of Jenny and I have developed all these catchphrases over the years. Do you remember any of the ones that we said?
So I remember yours of fair is not equal.
Fair is not equal.
And
Fair is not equal.
That's one that I use with players. I use with when I'm talking to families because it applies to everything.
So if you could learn that when you're young,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe your life will be a little easier.
A little bit easier. I think it helps when I'm talking about, comparison is the thief of joy is one of my favorite quotes as well.
Nice.
And
Say that again. That's a good one.
Yeah. Comparison is the thief of joy. So, in the youth sports world, the high school sports world, especially now with social media, you've got everyone's looking at the next person instead of running their own race, like I like to call it. And so people get upset about whether it's playing time or roles on the team, whatever it is. Well, that's not fair, and that's not fair. Well, fair is not equal. What's fair for this person is not the same fair for the next person. So that one always stuck with me.
That's really good.
I like it because it makes the player or the person think about that. It's like, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
So have you had any pushback on that?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Well, that's real.
Lots of pushback.
That is real.
You'll take that quote, shove it.
Not so much a quote from you, Jenny, but you said something to me, and I don't even know if I've ever said this to you, but my last year being a kindergarten associate, I kind of knew going in that it would probably be my last year. And I've always been a person that I try to be focused on the thing in the moment. And you guys were so patient with me all 4 years of
You were patient with us.
Are you kidding? Goes both ways.
chasing my dream of being a high school basketball coach and leaving early and different things like that. But something was happening and I was just laughing uncontrollably. And Jenny, you said, you were like, you're just checked out. You're just completely checked out. And it really stuck with me.
You were like, it's hilarious. Probably you were cracking up.
But it made me really recenter and refocus even if I do feel like this might be my last year, in the kindergarten classroom, to be present and be fully present and to just, be grounded in what I was doing.
I don't remember saying that, but you have such a great laugh. But I mean, it was probably in the spring where we're all exhausted.
Yeah.
That's okay because they've called Jenny Mrs. Had Enough
instead
of Mrs. Good Enough.
Yeah, I've had that. They're like, you're not Mrs. Good Enough. You're Mrs. Had Enough. And it's like,
we all have our breaking point.
And so it does. It kind of
it resets.
I'm like, oh no, I'm not. I got to turn this thing around.
Yes.
And become Mrs. Good Enough again. So yeah, I've had the same thing.
That's good. I love that.
All right. So let's go into starting at the very beginning of kindergarten. What surprised you most about working with us in kindergarten that ended up shaping you as a coach? I know you had coached before and you were coaching during, but what were some of the surprising things that kindergarten taught you?
Wow. So much. It was, I think it definitely helped deal with the unpredictableness, if that's a word, of, just you don't know. You don't know what each day is going to look like. You got to be ready to pivot. There's times coaching where you have your practice plan going in and then you got to pivot, or the gym's not available all of a sudden and you got to figure something out. But it's specifically with dealing with the students you're dealing with at that age, 5 and 6 year olds they're trying to figure it out more than anybody.
Yes.
So just pivoting, and I watched you both just do that masterfully of, you've both been in the roles for such a long time of just knowing you come in and you got a plan and there's just going to be a different way to get there some days. And it's not always going to be cookie cutter.
Or you put it aside and you do something new. Yeah.
Yes.
It's just, throughout the day, I always call it a 3-ring circus. It's like you have a plan, but the plan will most likely change at some point in some way. Well, good. I'm glad that's helped you because I'm sure in coaching, like you said, there's so many changes.
Yes.
All the time.
You have an idea of what you want to do, but you're dealing with high school boys.
Yeah.
And
there you
everything
go.
that
It's
comes with that.
Whole different animal than 5 and probably not that much different than a 5 and 6
Not
year
as
old.
different as people would think.
That's
5
our
and
point,
6,
right?
14 to 18. There's a lot of the same behaviors.
Well, that's why we wanted to have these conversations because it's the big little lessons, right?
These lessons go on and on your whole life.
Yeah.
Steven, also you were so observant with the kids, the way they handled conflict, the way they celebrated wins, the way they bounced back from tough moments. So what did you notice in those early years that carried over into coaching? I mean, you just said, obviously, the pivoting, but sort of just in terms of like the things that happened with the children, the way that they responded to you?
Yeah, I think just watching for patterns, watching for, okay, this kid, when things don't go his or her way, this is how they're going to respond. How can we course correct that? Or even anticipating. I think that's a big thing of just learning what's coming next with each child, and just learning their personalities. And, you can tell when they walk in the room by about, I don't know, maybe November, probably even earlier, you can kind of see, okay, this is probably going to be a rough day for so-and-so. But if you can do things to kind of course correct before, because you've seen it before, I think that's helpful. And that definitely helps me in coaching when I can look at a player and see. And it also helps to be on campus and interacting, and you kind of know a little bit of what happened throughout the day. But when they come in the gym for practice, you're like, oh boy, so-and-so had a rough day, or they had a great day. And then especially when we do morning practices, I know my guys that are morning guys and my guys that are not morning guys. And so I think that just observing and watching how kids respond to when things don't go their way, or even better, how they respond when things are going their way too. So you can kind of have those carrots for them of, I know what gets you going, so I can try to have that ready for you.
I always call that setting them up for success.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not going to work for this one. So let's set them up for success.
And it also ties in with fair is not equal, right?
Yes.
You don't know what each one of these beings had happened to them the night before, or in the morning when they woke up, and if they got into a fight with their parents, or if they, anything. I mean, it could set them off in any way.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. We talked about executive function. What kindergarten behaviors did you see that line up with the kinds of self-control athletes need? What are your thoughts about executive functions for these rising athletes?
Yeah, I think the whole piece we were just talking about of just even your morning routine, right? Like as a 5 and 6 year old, you're doing what your parents are telling you to do most times, and I'm sure each kid and each family has their thing, their specific thing, but it seems like it's pretty basic, right? You're getting up, you're brushing your teeth, washing your face, and you're learning those things at that age. Whereas in high school, I deal with some guys that they are consistently doing the same thing over and over, and it's not producing the result that we want. And so, like, if you're not a morning guy, why wouldn't you get your bag ready the night before?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you do certain things to help you? They're a lot of the same behaviors you see with 5 and 6 year olds. It's a lesson for me of patience and understanding that they're still trying to figure it out. While I demand a lot of them as a basketball player, they're student athletes first. I've got a team full of seniors this year. And so this first semester is a lot about applying for colleges. And I can see them starting to come out of that, of the stress of college applications and whatnot. But it definitely affected a lot of them in the preseason in terms of our practices and how they were showing up. So I think just trying to give the high school students tools of, for me, I don't mind getting up in the morning, but when I was 15 to 18, I probably didn't like it as much. And so try to put myself back in that mentality as well.
I think that's a huge part of it. What kind of tools do you give them, ideas or kind of a way to set the intention for the practice or the game? Yeah.
So if we're talking about a game, one thing that I've done to really keep them engaged and take ownership of preparation is, sometimes I'll have them create their own scouting report. We'll send them the film on the other team and say, you have X amount of hours to create a scouting report. And so I think it helps them, whether they know it or not, feel more prepared for the games.
Can you tell us what a scouting report is? Because we're not so
we didn't play basketball.
Yeah, so, we have all this technology now where you can get film of a team before you play them. And it used to be old school, right? An actual physical tape, but now everything is digital.
The holidays are here, and that means it's the most wonderful time of the year to save with Rakuten. Use Rakuten to stack cash back from your favorite stores on top of holiday sales. That's savings on savings. With Rakuten, you can get cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. From toys for the kids to kitchen gear for the person who loves to cook to electronics for everyone. You can even save on something for yourself. Just shop the stores you love and cashback is automatically added to your account. And you can get paid with gift cards, PayPal, or check. Or eligible American Express card members can even choose to earn membership rewards instead of cashback. It's truly a no-brainer. Join for free today and get a new member bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.com, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's RAKUTEN. Terms and conditions apply.
And so you use your relationships to try to get film of your opponents, and then you share that film with the players, and you say, hey, you guys work together as a team. So we're also blending some team concepts in there. And again, we have all this technology. They don't have to hand me a physical scouting report. I say, share it with me in a Google document, by this time. And so, they have consequences, of course, if they don't get it done. But I think it helps them feel more prepared going into the game.
And I think a deadline too.
Yes.
If it's open-ended, like if you have time
Yes.
and then this, that, it's like, no.
That doesn't work.
You have 1 hour.
Get it done.
But I like also giving them the ownership, because what we do at the primary level, it's so like, this is now it's your turn.
Yes.
Now it's your turn. And,
Yes.
shake hands and try again. And it's very concrete, but it's the building blocks for what's coming down the road, right?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
Let's talk about sportsmanship, what it really means. Let's
What
unpack
does it mean? All right. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper here with
Yep.
this. How do you, Steven, personally define sportsmanship?
I would define it as, how is your character when things aren't going your way? So to me, it's easy to be a good sport when things are going your way, when you're winning, when everything's lining up the right way. But to me, true sportsmanship is, how are you responding in adversity? And essentially, how do you respond when you lose? And how do you respond when you think no one's watching? And I always say think, because especially in this era of technology, someone's always watching.
Wow.
And so I try to get that message across, to players that when you think no one's watching, they are. Because unfortunately, people have always got their phones out and they're looking for you to not show good sportsmanship and good character. So the more times that you can, we're all going to make mistakes, but the more times that you can show that this is who you are, good, bad, or indifferent.
I love that.
that's the character
I have goosebumps, because to me, that's the big little lesson. It's, of course, we all want to win, but it's how do you manage things when you lose?
Yeah.
And building the character. That's why I think you're the perfect person,
You are.
because that's who I think your character.
I used to cry a lot when I lost.
Did you?
When I was younger. Oh yeah. I used to cry, I used to get mad. And I think that's the other piece to it, right? It's taught, right? Just like you all were saying about
Skill.
executive functioning, it's a skill. Like character, yes, it's things you go through in life that define your character, but it also, you have to be taught the right and the wrong way to behave when you win, when you lose. And, we're very big on that in our program of act the same. Win or lose, you shake the other team's hand. We can discuss things in the locker room behind closed doors, but yeah, win or lose, you
I
gotta-
guess I just am laughing because I've always known you as calm.
Yeah, I know.
Cool.
Can't imagine you
You
throwing
have a little
tantrum.
chuckle. You're
No.
like, well, it's a little frustrating,
Yeah.
but I'm going to work through it. So to picture you as a kid. So really,
Oh yeah, I hated to lose. Again, as I think most kids do,
Yes.
but it's who's teaching them those lessons. of,
Right.
you're going to lose, right? You're going to lose. How do you respond? And I think the earlier you can address it, the better.
who helped you find that way?
My parents, for sure.
Absolutely.
My dad was my first coach growing up, so he was very big on that. But I think just different mentors and coaches that I had throughout my life of just understanding that whether you win or lose, people are going to watch how you respond.
Do you think it requires emotional maturity to get there, and like self-awareness and those kinds of qualities? Because what's
100%.
misunderstood about it? I feel like
Yeah.
not everybody gets that.
Yeah. No, you have to have a level of self-awareness. But again, at a young age, you probably don't have that self-awareness. So as a parent or a guardian, whoever it is, coach, it is your responsibility to help instill that into a child. And the longer you let it go on the wrong way, the harder it is for a coach later to course correct it.
I was just thinking that. I feel like there's a window, right?
Yes.
There's a window. And if you don't get it, it's going to be so much harder when they get to you.
Yes.
Well, if we think about it, a toddler having a temper tantrum, if a parent or a caretaker or anybody's taking care of this child gives them exactly what they want and they don't get to work with disappointment and not getting everything they want, we've all seen adults that can still throw temper tantrums and it's not pretty. So it can happen.
That's such a good point, Jenny.
Yeah. So
that was a good one.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Yes.
No, it's true. And there's those meltdowns. We've seen them. And
Not pretty.
no, 5-year-olds. And what does that look like when, like, do players have meltdowns?
They do have meltdowns.
I can't even imagine.
It manifests in different ways, right? Like it might not be a physical throwing themselves on the floor or anything like that. As you get to know a player, you can see when they're headed in that direction. And so, again, with the understanding of they're still learning, right? You try to grab them and course correct. In the course of a game, like if I see a player, have a couple turnovers or things aren't going their way, I can usually see through their body language what's about to happen. And again, it might not be a fake. So you kind of try to get ahead of it, pull them out the game, have an assistant coach talk to them, and then you give them another shot. And if they still can't course correct, then it's like, all right, well, then you're no good to the team right now if you can't get yourself together.
Wow, you have a lot to manage. Talk about executive functioning at its finest. Being a coach, that's
And I
not
love
easy.
that you said they're still learning, because we say that all the time because they're little. And I love hearing it as they grow too, because they're still learning. They don't have it all figured out. Nobody has it all figured out. We're all still learning, but not everybody has that mindset of they're still learning. They, I bet there's some coaches that probably think, oh, they should know how to do this. They should be able to control themselves, right?
Yeah, there's times where I feel like keep going over the same thing.
Well, and then you also have the parent factor.
Yes.
And some of those parents, as we've all seen in the news, hopefully you haven't had to deal with that too much, but
I've got a great group of parents.
Awesome.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, and they really allow me to work with their kids.
amen to that.
Yeah,
That's
and I
awesome.
always
Well,
say,
that's a testament to your
allow.
coaching too.
Thank you. But it's, there's times I tell parents all the time, like, we may not always be on the same page, but we got to be in the same book and in the same chapter. But we're not going to agree on everything. But again, you're going to agree with some coaching decisions. You're not going to agree with some. But if you truly understand me and understand, my philosophies and coaching style, if you take the time to know, then you'll see that we are trying to teach lessons through the game of basketball. And that does come with a little bit of failure. And that comes with a little bit of pushback as well.
Yeah. So, is there a teaching moment that stands out? Speaking of this moment where you saw a player learn sportsmanship the hard way or the beautiful way?
That's a great question.
It's
Yeah, I think that one instance that's coming to mind is we're playing a game, and it was a really tough game last year. We were actually playing the team that knocked us out of the playoffs the year before. So then we were playing them last season, and we were winning the game, and kid on the other team hits a half-court shot to win the game at the buzzer.
Wow.
And I just remember the looks on my team's face of going from that moment of you feel like you're about to win to in 2 seconds, a heartbreaking loss. But just the way that they carried themselves and gathered themselves and just got in the handshake line, shook hands. And, they were sad, they were disappointed, but you wouldn't be able to see how angry they were in that moment.
You were proud.
I was very proud of them.
It's so heartbreaking and you feel it so badly, but it's one of those almost like a life-changing event when something goes sour so fast.
Yeah,
you won't forget it.
Roller coaster.
Oh, it's
of we were
emotional.
up here and then down
Down.
here in the snap of a finger.
Oh, it makes me so sad when you were telling that story. I was like, those poor kids.
Yeah, I really don't like losing.
No, definitely not like that. Yeah, not like that. That was
That was
tough.
hard.
Yeah.
Did it make, when you win those games though, it makes it even better.
Yeah,
You're like,
I've been on the other end where we've hit buzzer beaters.
Yes.
But again, I try to teach the same lesson of, be excited, but get in line, shake the other team's hand, and we can go celebrate as a team in the locker room. So I've been on both sides of it, and anyone who's coached long enough, you're going to win close ones, you're going to lose close ones, you're going to blow people out, you're going to get blown out. It's just the nature of it. But again, the more times you can respond, even keel.
Yeah.
Do you
Same
have
way.
to work with the students about not boasting or bragging or smack talk or anything like that?
100%.
Yeah.
Because it'd be easy to go, we're so much better than
Yes,
you.
and it's tough because when I played with an edge, and I like to compete. I never really talked a whole lot, but I wasn't going to back down, and so I try to teach that to my team as well. We'll show it by the way we play. We don't have to talk about it, but also don't back down from anybody. But when you make a shot, I love to see guys celebrate. That's cool, but move on to the next play. Act like you've done it before. Right. But it's tough because you want them to have fun, and they're going to emulate what they see, whether it's the college level, the NBA level, because that's what I did. That's what any young player does. But just teaching them that there's a time and a place for everything. And there's a difference between being confident and being arrogant.
True.
Difference between being confident and arrogant. Yeah, I mean, it has to be great when you get to your the team party or in the locker room where you could really let loose.
Yes.
It has to be so great.
And we talk about keeping our locker room sacred, and it's not because we're doing anything crazy in there. It's just we don't allow phones and recording in the locker room. Just because it's this place where that's the team, and that's we're discussing things. And
I like that.
Things are happening in there that it's our family. And yes, your parents are a part of that family, but we talk about there's the inner circle, right? Then the next level and the next level. Yeah. And when you're not there every day, then things can get misinterpreted of what's going on. But we try to keep what happens in the locker room, good or bad, because there's disputes that happen in the locker room too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there are.
I'm learning so much because I feel like I wish you could come back to kindergarten and make a guest appearance.
I think
because
I would love to.
Yes.
I'm having all these conversations with my children.
Yes.
The little ones, they come back from PE and they're heated because one team won and they said we won and they said you didn't and they didn't and it goes on all the time. And so I've literally been doing this. I mean, it's such a big part of what we do.
Yeah. And in kindergarten, we try to not have that team because developmentally they're not quite there. They need to learn the skills.
Yeah.
Let's practice dribbling that ball or practice throwing or whatever the skill is for the day, because developmentally they lose it. But
right.
And it's easier said than done. Then all they want to do is keep score.
This is something interesting. I'm going to go off course for just a second because I've also seen so many more kids playing like club sports at age 5 and 6. Can you speak to that? Because I don't feel good about it.
I don't either. I feel like it's not good on their bodies either.
Yeah. Youth sports has become so monetized, and a lot of it feels like a money grab. I think that at the age of 5 and 6, you should be learning more skills and not so much competition.
Yeah. That's exactly what it brings. It brings this level of competitiveness that I have never seen before.
Yes.
Like the past 2 years, we've had to really get involved with these kids on the playground because they come and they bring it inside the classroom.
Yes.
They can't shake it off.
They can't shake it off, and then it just spills over, and it creates this really challenging energy in your classroom.
Yeah. And it's not their fault. They're doing what they see, what they're taught. And so if you go to a youth basketball game of 5 and 6 year olds, they can't dribble, right? Mm-hmm. So they're traveling, they're running around with the ball. They can't get the ball up to the hoop, right? So they have to lower the hoops, and that's fine. But to me, it's more of they shouldn't be playing as much as they are. That doesn't mean they never should play, but there's got to be a better balance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just there's been a big pivot from the parks and rec leagues where that's where you learned all of that from coaches who are volunteering their time to really teach these kids the skills rather than at the club level where you have coaches that love the game and love teaching, but it's the way they're making their money too. So anytime you're mixing that with kids that young, and then even as a parent, I had a friend ask me one time if he should start training, getting his kid training, like paying for a trainer.
How old was their child?
Around 5, 6, 7 years old. And I said, absolutely not.
Yeah, but Jenny, we know we have these kids.
Yeah.
We have them.
Because at that age, I told him, I said, your son just likes playing with you. Yes. But at the moment you as a parent, are now paying money to someone, you want to see a return on investment.
Yeah.
And whether you know it or not, you're creating this pressure of, well, you were just working with Coach so-and-so for 2 hours. Where is it? Where I don't see it. Rather than now, if they're just working with you as dad or mom, it's time that you're spending with them.
Yes.
Right. And it's not so much of you're training them.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because we talk about it all the time. And it's not just, like you said, it's not the skill of learning to dribble. It's the skill of sportsmanship, which is the whole point of it all too, because that is the lead up.
Yeah.
So just rather than throwing them in, there's so many little, benchmarks that they need to hit before the big leagues.
I also think just the wear and tear on the child's body.
And they burn
have
out.
growth plates, and it's like you're asking their body to do more than they're ready for.
And they're specializing at a younger age too, in terms of just playing one sport, whereas they're not learning different sports, different muscle groups, all of that too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there.
And I watch them. They're good. The kids are they
they're way
have
better than me.
talent. I mean, it's mostly soccer that we see, and the way that they can maneuver the ball and tackle, but it's not for the kindergarten playground.
No, I mean, we were talking, Kristine, and we're turning 59 now, and how old are you?
I just turned 38.
38. So yeah, we'll always be 21 years older than you, always. When Kristine and I were growing up, we didn't have any of this club stuff. We would just go out and play. And when you think about that, building that sportsmanship of just being with kids in the neighborhood, there was no directed coaching time.
There was nothing until you got to high school, and then you could choose, because I swam in high school, and then that was the first time that I was ever a part of a team, which I loved.
Oh, I was part of a team when I was in 5th grade.
You were?
Yeah, I was in Golden Nuggets, AYSO.
So cute.
Yeah.
And it was hard
They
because
didn't
these
have
girls
that
were
in
good.
Spain. They didn't have it.
Oh, yeah. No, I did. Okay, so let's go into building a team culture.
Yeah.
And what are some of the intentional things you do? Each year you get a new, you may have returning players, but it's a new team.
Yes.
So what do you do to build trust and unity with your athletes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our team this year is very senior heavy. I think out of 14 guys, 11 are seniors. And so they've been with me for 3 years now. They know the expectation. I know what to expect from them. But when they were juniors last year, we had a team that did pretty well. And I felt their energy going into their junior year, that they kind of thought that they would just ride off the wave of the team before. And it was a rough year last season. And we put it together and won some games and, made the playoffs and all that. But that team didn't understand that this is a new team, as you just said. And that while it's still a lot of the same players, it's a new dynamic, a new team, new roles, all of those things. So what I learned from last year going into this year was that I really wanted to be intentional about the culture piece.
Okay.
And I did something I'd never done before. We did a team retreat this year. And it was great. It was great. I didn't know exactly what to expect as my first time putting a retreat together, but also didn't know how much the boys would buy into it, of being vulnerable, kind of letting their walls down a little bit. We had plans to practice and then do some retreat stuff. We didn't touch a basketball because we just did a lot of retreat stuff, just connecting and different things. And
did you kind of do like a discussion topics?
Yes.
Almost like a council?
Yes.
Where
Yes.
everyone
We
had a
talked
chance?
about leadership. We talked about what we call in our team chit chats of how we're going to talk to each other, share the good and the bad with each other, and how to respond and receive criticism and critiques. But we talked about a lot of things of culture, right? The team culture. And that's a very hot button word in athletics, is culture. And, favorite quote, I believe it was from Greg Popovich: you have to be willing to fight for the things you care about every day. And so you're not going to master everything in a season, but when it comes to your culture, as the coach, as the leader of the team and the program, you have to pick those things that are non-negotiables, that this is what our team is going to be about. And when we talk about that frustration of why are we still doing this? Why are we still talking about the same things? Well, if you care about it and it's important to you, you got to fight for it. And so that's what our retreat was about. And I'm really proud of the way they responded.
Where did you go over, like an overnight or?
Yeah, we did it overnight. We actually did it on campus, which was really nice that
very
the school allowed us to do that. And again, it was about taking ownership of our gym, taking ownership of our locker room. So we slept on the gym floor.
Oh my gosh.
We did most of our sessions in the team locker room. We went out to dinner. So we went off campus for dinner. And then we went, to an Airbnb and did some retreat stuff out there for a day as well. So it was really
Did you
fun.
do it before school started? Or?
No, we did it the beginning of November.
Oh my
gosh. Yeah. So it got pushed back. There were some things that happened. We were supposed to do it earlier, but I also believe everything happens for a reason. And so there was a reason that it got pushed back, and it happened right before season kicked off, and it brought our team together right before the season started. So it was
Talk
nice.
about culture.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that, we talked earlier about like consistency and tradition, having patterns, like playing board games with your family, et cetera, and like how that builds in that executive functioning piece. Do you think that you'd make that a ritual or a routine like that?
I would like to, as exhausting as it was.
I bet you were exhausted.
It
right
sounds
after Halloween.
I was
though.
exhausted, but we did a big whole program-wide dinner to close the retreat. And, I saw a couple of parents at the dinner, and they could just see it on me. They were like,
He spent.
yeah.
We're checked out.
He's checked out.
Exactly. I stayed for maybe 45 minutes, and I was like, I got to go home.
But there was a good exhaustion.
It was a great exhaustion.
But I would think also that the parents would look at you and say, wow, what a powerful thing that this coach provided for my kid.
They were very appreciative. As I said, I've got great parents, and a couple of them joked. They said, we finally had time to ourselves.
The holidays are here, and that means it's the most wonderful time of the year to save with Rakuten. Use Rakuten to stack cash back from your favorite stores on top of holiday sales. That's savings on savings. With Rakuten, you can get cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. From toys for the kids to kitchen gear for the person who loves to cook to electronics for everyone. You can even save on something for yourself. Just shop the stores you love and cash back is automatically added to your account. And you can get paid with gift cards, PayPal, or check. Or eligible American Express card members can even choose to earn membership rewards instead of cash back. It's truly a no-brainer. Join for free today and get a new member bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.com, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's Rakuten. Terms and conditions apply.
Thanks for our date night.
Don't you want to do a retreat every weekend, Coach? Absolutely not.
Well, but I think that's so true that these high school kids, they have this retreat is invaluable for so many reasons. And who knows where these lessons are going to carry them through having this retreat time.
Yeah.
That will be something they remember for their lifetime.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll remember it for sure.
No, when you go back and reflect of those kinds of moments and who you were and what kind of person you were in their life and what you provided for them, they'll remember forever.
It's kind of like when we take our little half-day field trips. That's what they remember.
Yes.
Yeah. And we come back, Nelson's and Underwood Farms, but we don't have overnights. I always say that. Wouldn't that be fun to have an overnight? And the kindergartners are all in. I'm thinking, no, I'm not doing that. It'd be fun for them.
Nobody would be sleeping. Should we talk about big little lessons from sports?
Yes. Well,
so we see so many kindergarten lessons showing up again and again. That's why we love having these conversations. We talk about sharing and supporting each other and collaborating and trying again, and what happens when you make a mistake, and knowing how to lose, which you said so beautifully when you talked about that, right?
There's so much that goes on with sports. It's not just winning or losing. There's all the other aspects of life lessons. Yeah. Which of these little kid lessons that we've done in kindergarten do you see most in your high school athletes? And how do they transform into leadership skills?
Great questions. Wow. I'd say the one that pops up probably the most often is, and not so much winning or losing, but what happens when you don't get your way. I think that's so much of what is taught and being taught in kindergarten. You two did such a great job of making them understand most times in life, you're probably not going to get what you want when you want it. And so being patient and understanding that, you are going to lose sometimes, or, losing is not getting what you want when you want it. Or I think in the high school basketball space, the hard one is when you feel you deserve it. And so when we're talking about the training piece, these kids, they work really hard. And They go to their trainer and their shooting coach and their strength and conditioning coach. And a lot of times they can't understand why they're not getting the results that they want when they want it. I try to tell them that everyone wants to win, right? No one does anything, plays a game or anything with the intent of losing, but everyone wants it to look a certain way. They want winning to look a certain way. You want to be involved in winning as the leading scorer, right? That's what most kids want, right? They want to score the most points. So it's getting them to understand you can still be highly involved in winning, but you don't have to score the most points every time. So that part, I think of just you're not going to get what you want all the time, but it's for the betterment of the team, the sacrificing piece. So that's the one that probably pops up the most, is still getting them to understand that you're probably not going to get your way more times than not. And even if you do, you can't rest on that, because there's another game tomorrow and you might not be the leading scorer. Are you going to be okay with that?
You're going to be okay.
So just because you were the leading scorer tonight doesn't mean you're going to be the leading scorer tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's so true. I think about that, just learning to take turns and listen to somebody else.
Yes. Wow.
Everybody wants to talk and talk and talk and talk, but to really listen and take turns, it's a lifelong skill as well. So, okay.
Should we lighten it up a little?
Yeah, let's lighten up.
We're going to we call it a speed round. It's never actually a speed round. It takes longer than, but we're going to throw questions at you and say the first thing that comes to mind.
Yes.
All right. So here we go. Your favorite pep talk phrase?
Be where your feet are.
Oh, love that.
Good.
What was your hardest moment to coach after a tough loss or during a hard practice? I feel like when that kid threw the ball. And
Yeah.
what do you call those moments when it's right before the bell?
Devastation.
Yeah. The buzzer beater.
The buzzer
beater.
That one that I referred to from last season was hard. The good part was that we had a game the next day, so we couldn't dwell on it, and we had to bounce back from it right away.
That's great.
But yeah, that one was really hard.
Oh, I feel it for you.
Yeah.
It's like that gut feeling. What is the best leadership quality in a player for you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Wow. For me, it's being vocal, but saying the right things while being vocal, right? And which again has to be taught. Again, I think a lot of kids today, they work really hard on their own because it's something they want to do. They're individually training. And so a lot of kids will say, well, I work hard. And so getting them to understand that that's the baseline. Hard work is, you're supposed to do that. I'm not impressed by that. So a lot of kids work hard. A lot of kids, they don't talk, right? And so talking is a big part of leadership to me. But you have to say the right things when you talk. So when you find those players that are not only not afraid to speak, but not afraid to say what needs to be said, that's pretty special. It's a pretty special leadership quality.
So leaning into having difficult conversations and being honest.
Yes.
That's a nuance. That's not easy.
It's not.
Yeah, for teenage boys.
No.
You know, in general, but if they can learn that and
really understand the team concept.
And understand that I'm saying this to you because I care about you, not because I'm trying to make you feel bad. But it's something that I've had to learn as a coach, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Tiptoeing around things, not wanting to hurt players' feelings or...
We have that with parents
Yes.
too. Those conversations, you're like, I don't want to have this conversation, but I get to have that conversation. And I always say speaking truth with love.
Yep.
And that is
like
that is not easy.
No.
But yeah, it takes I go to prayer. I'm like, please God, please help me with this
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
And for your leadership in athletes as well, and as a coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's one kindergarten skill every athlete needs?
I would say resilience.
Oh,
I think
that.
a lot of kindergarten is being resilient because they're trying so many things for the first time, or at least consistently over and over, and they're going to fail. And how do they bounce back
I love that.
from that failure?
That's great. If you weren't coaching basketball, what sport would you coach? Because we just know you wanted to coach. So
Probably football. I coached both of those
That
for a
makes
while.
sense.
Okay.
But if neither of those two,
yeah, if you weren't coaching, what else would you want to do?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Kindergarten is a kindergarten teacher.
Back to kindergarten.
I like the not necessarily the podcast space, but I guess journalism space of I like talking to people. I like having these kind of conversations with people.
Yep.
I consider myself someone who's, easygoing and easy to talk to. So I think I would probably pivot to a career in that somehow.
I think you could do that.
Yeah, just talking to people.
Yeah, we had so many great, when we worked together,
Yes.
we would just talk and talk and talk. We
Yes.
talked about everything, didn't
Everything.
we?
We've
Yeah.
already
really did.
decided we're doing this again.
Yes.
So we're going to come up with a whole new topic for you, Steven.
I'm ready.
So, that's perfect. That's a good segue.
It
We're
is a
gonna-
good segue.
Okay,
Just
good.
talk.
We're going to talk. Okay, so before we close, we want to offer a little optional homework,
Okay.
something small and simple to help you, as listeners, with sportsmanship in your own life. So,
Try a structured play moment inspired by some of the things we've talked about and some of the research that we've read. Maybe trying out some structured play in your home. So like family game night.
how about you, Steven? Do you
we
do?
did that. My
You
mom,
did do that.
We would do movie nights. We would
Yeah.
do game nights, Monopoly, Trouble.
I think that helps.
Yeah.
Uno's a great game
Uno,
because it's
yep,
quick. Yeah,
yep.
Monopoly,
It's
I
quick.
mean, come on. It's
Well,
like 5 hours.
Monopoly,
never good at it.
there was Kids Monopoly, and that was guaranteed to be done in 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I liked Kids Monopoly, not the
Monopoly.
original.
My wife loves Monopoly. And
Oh, it goes on forever.
now you talk about competitive. She gets
There you go. I love it. But, puzzles are great.
Yes.
Playing outside, backyard games are wonderful. If you do decide to try this out, or if it's part of your routine, just pay attention to how the people who are playing, children and adults, handle turns, handle frustration, and what does the teamwork feel like? Like all the things we talked about.
Notice it more. And then we can also have some reflection questions, which is having a conversation with your child or student or teen. What makes someone a good teammate? Just talking about, like you'd mentioned, if you kind of think about like what does make a good teammate, that might be at your next retreat that you'll have in a few months for your team. Just kidding.
year, at least a year.
Yeah, in a year. Or how do you want people to feel when they play with you?
Yeah.
Think about how that other person
But
is.
like big conversations for little people, opening it up so that they're thinking, they're self-reflecting on what's happening.
Absolutely. Back to the frustrations, which is going to happen when you play sports. I mean, I know I don't like losing, but how does it feel when you're frustrated? And what can you do to kind of lighten it up or take the lessons learned from losing
Yeah.
and say, well, just have to practice more and
Right.
go with the flow, as they say.
So maybe your homework is just like little chats, 2-minute chats to build self-awareness and maybe some emotional literacy.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about our big little lesson that we learned today from Steven. I think for me, the lesson I learned from Steven is working on the interior character quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only just playing the game and doing your best, but how are you responding with the game, with the team, from your coaches, your parents. It's the character building. And I just have to say, I mean, that's the thing that I've always loved about Steven. He's kind, he's funny, he's all these great qualities, but it's his interior character. I mean, he's with all these kindergartners and then lots of ladies.
Yes.
But he always stayed measured and calm within the chaos that ensued.
Always.
But your characters has always taught me stuff. So anyway, that's my big little lesson.
That's a good one.
How about you?
I think just understanding that there's so many levels to sportsmanship. I mean, the character piece was a big part of it, but it's a lifelong practice, right? So we do our darndest to set them up for success in kindergarten, but it's something that it's really important to constantly be reflecting on, and it's a skill that will grow if you do that.
Yeah.
And to remind ourselves as coaches and teachers and parents that they need a lot of practice. And so it's not that you've done something wrong. They're just learning and practicing all the time. All right. So, Steven, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're having you back. So
Yeah, it's just you poured so much heart into the kindergartners, and I loved hearing about your coaching because it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I just think you're incredible.
great.
Thank you for our time together, those 4 years. As you were sending me pictures, Jenny, it was just the memories were flowing back of just the holidays, and I learned so much in that time of all the things you all are saying. Yes, that it's who I am, who my parents raised me to be, But it's also, mentors like you two along the way that, poured into me. I learned a lot.
Well, we learned a lot from you.
Just watching the way you two operated in the chaos,
appreciate
right?
that.
In the chaos. And, it's you don't always get to say thank you. So thank you to both of you.
Oh, thank
'Cause
you. That means
really,
it's a lot.
I appreciate it. And you were very patient with me, just learning that space, but also understanding what I wanted to do in terms of coaching and being flexible on that end. But I truly, I took a lot of those lessons, and applied them immediately. Right?
That's awesome.
The teams I was coaching at that time.
Did you
the
say
teams I'm
stop,
coaching
look,
now,
and listen?
I would say a lot of things.
Right, hands on your head.
Yes. And again, you're amazed at how much of those same tactics work with high school students. Whether it's, them, the call and response that they remember, but they're learning. And they want to be taught. They might fight you sometime. Deep down, they want to be taught.
We like to say we don't have all the answers, but we have a lot of experience, which we do. You could also find us on Instagram
At Teach Big Little Lessons. So tune in next Tuesday.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday. If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.